When we say there's no more stock in the warehouse, it really means there's none. Sometimes we don't even have a warehouse. Always and everywhere, you need to apply 2 coats of paint. Advertising lies to you. I worked in the paint department at several home improvement stores. The wording paint and primer in one means you can use this paint as a first priming coat and then apply another one as a finish coat. It's written on the can. Sometimes you can get away with 1 coat, depending on the surface, but that's rare. I'm a licensed massage therapist. We don't evaluate clients' bodies at all. After the first few sessions in the profession, you stop seeing bodies, only muscle groups. I often hear that people don't go for massages because of self-consciousness. I wish everyone knew this secret about massage therapists. And we don't care if you haven't shaved. LOL. It's amazing how many women apologize for their unshaved legs. I'm a pilot. We don't take a plane into the air if it's not in order. Never. Absolutely never. We don't want to die either. As a passenger who has had to leave a plane due to technical problems, thank you. Special respect for the simple explanation of the reasons for the flight delay or aircraft change. Sensor failure. Mechanics will check it, and in the meantime, we'll transfer you to another plane. That's enough. When a fire occurs, only the sprinkler head directly above the fire is activated. They don't all activate at once like in the movies. And the water in these systems is usually so dirty that you'd prefer the fire. The largest financial institutions still rely on an old version of Excel and 2 billion lines of Fortran code that no one has documented or rewritten since 1974. Rebooting solves a lot of problems. My favorite, sarcasm, situation is when I do a reboot but nothing still works. And then I do it over the phone with tech support and everything suddenly magically fixes itself. Abusive parents are much more common than you think. Much, much more common. Heartbreakingly often. I work with children, and I've had to call Child Protective Services more than once due to particularly severe cases. I completely agree with this statement. There's a crazy turnover rate in child welfare and social services. People are overworked, pushing themselves to the limit, seeing the worst in society and witnessing firsthand how ineffective the system is when it comes to helping the most vulnerable. I work in our state's labor department. Yeah, we have a bunch of dishonest employers who don't pay their employees, close their businesses, and then open a new one under a different name or transfer all the assets to another person. My former boss had such a scheme. Before the restaurant where I worked, he was in plastering. He had more than 10 registered companies. The guy would get an advance payment and disappear, changing the name of the business and start all over again. A bunch of other people and I sued him for non-payment of wages and salaries, and he was ordered to pay $300,000 to workers and suppliers. Unfortunately, I never got my $2,000. And the last time I heard about him, he was back to plastering. Somehow the guy is still not in jail. On the positive side, anesthesiology. An incredibly safe field. We perform surgeries on critically ill patients every day, and if the patient is young and healthy, you really have to try to make something go wrong. Drugs and monitoring systems are now head and shoulders above what they were 20 years ago. We're great at putting people to sleep and bringing them back. Purely based on statistics, you're safer in the operating room than on the way to it in the car. I'll add something else. As a patient, as soon as you get to the operating room, be sure to tell the anesthesiologist that you're nervous. They can definitely make sure you're not nervous. I work in a prison and often see people convicted of murder or aggravated assault as a result of drunk driving. These people have no criminal history. We think that thieves, murderers, etc. are in prison, but this is exactly the category where an ordinary person can turn into a criminal in one evening. So it's no secret, but still, don't drink and drive, and don't look at your phone while driving. Donating money to a library is much more useful than bringing it books. As for donated books, almost none of them will be added to the collection, and it's not even possible to sell them properly. I call it emotional disposal. We do the dirty work for people, throwing out books that they can't throw out themselves. If you just rinse vegetables and fruits with water, you'll eliminate up to 99% of the bacteria. This is the best you can do to prevent food poisoning. I always wondered how simple rinsing with water could be effective, but your comment reassured me. Bacteria and microbes in general are very small cells, capsules that don't stick well to solid surfaces on their own. It's kind of like if you were holding on to a rocky slope and suddenly a waterfall crashed down on top of you. You'd probably be washed away. The comparison isn't perfect, but the point is clear. Unless it's biofilms, that's the real problem. Document everything. Never rely only on word of mouth when you go to management at work. Record, print out, and carry it with you. The very fact that you've put something in writing, especially if it's a chain of related incidents, greatly increases the chances of you being heard. Sometimes because it shows your initiative, judgment, and intelligence, but more often because it may already be the beginning of a lawsuit if things go badly. You can't imagine how many incompetent employees there are in the healthcare industry. It's just awful, especially among managers and leadership. It makes me feel sick, literally. I'm on sick leave now because of mental health issues. Oh, if only it were possible to report all this lawlessness to the authorities without being left out in the cold. Keep in mind that a veterinarian might kiss your kitten's tummy while you're distracted. I once left a puppy at a vet clinic overnight. The dog ate something toxic, and it was so nice to see the vets and assistants gushing about how cute she was. It was very reassuring. When I came to pick her up the next day, they said they put a sweater on her to keep her warm. And they took her out a couple of times to cuddle with her. It was nice to know she didn't spend the whole night alone in a metal cage. Edited. Here's a photo of the puppy. You know how in movies, someone picks up an old, rare book and immediately puts on white gloves? In reality, when you're working with rare or old books, gloves aren't necessary. The best thing is just clean, washed, and dry hands. Why? Because with gloves on, you can't feel the pages as well, and you're more likely to accidentally tear them. We only wear gloves for artifacts, moldy items, poisonous books, most often with arsenic. Check out the Poison Book Project on internet. And photos. And these aren't the white cotton gloves from the movies, but just well-fitting nitrile ones. And also, your old Bible isn't that rare and certainly not worth the money you think it is. The same goes for your book collection. People are always bringing in a rare Bible, and we have hundreds of them in storage. Stop giving us Bibles. Yes, kindergarten teachers really do wipe your children all the time during the day. It's just that children are living magnets for dirt. I work in the field of material testing for the automotive, aerospace, and defense industries. Our secret is that we don't screw around. Technical requirements are sacred scripture, and we abide by them. People are fired for trying to cut corners with documentation. I was once called into a conference room and reprimanded for 2 hours, not for using faulty equipment, but for being in the same room with someone who did. That person was suspended from work for a week without pay. We are regularly audited for compliance with international standards. Why so strict? Because if people in my field start cutting corners, someone dies, and dies a horrible death. Edited. Almost forgot. Document forgery in this area is considered a criminal offense. The amount of garbage that is produced just to fill the shelves of Walmart and Target with useless, silly things should make you rethink your shopping habits. I work in a veterinary clinic. Here are a couple of points. Yes, your dog or cat needs a rabies shot. The disease is transmitted to humans and it's fatal. Yes, your pet can have fleas even if it never goes outside. If you have a fence or live in a gated community, fleas don't care about property lines. The local vet clinic is not always the best option for a turtle found on the side of the road. Many clinics do not accept wild fauna, and some do not work with reptiles at all. I'm a former manager in a fast food establishment. Believe me, no one wants to deliberately spoil your order. We make thousands of orders a day and are constantly under pressure to work faster. Sometimes mistakes happen, we miss something, but we're always ready to fix it, especially if you don't act like a complete jerk. Working in dentistry, we can't always tell if you're using floss or not. In many cases, you can see when a person has excellent hygiene and really uses floss, but there are those who get away with not using it. They probably have excellent genetics. Most modern houses, including apartments, are built from the cheapest materials, and I doubt they will last more than 30 years without major exterior repairs. A small air bubble in an IV grip is absolutely harmless. A couple of years ago, my husband had 2 PICC lines placed, and I had to change them every 6 hours.